Thanks for stopping by. I'm Chris Ficotti, the strategic HR business leader. That's up next on HR Insights. Welcome to part 2 of my series, The Strategic HR Leader. I continue my look at the key aspects or competencies HR leaders should consider developing to strengthen their role as a trusted strategic leader in the business. We pick up with developing a sales mentality. HR leaders in many respects are similar to sales roles. HR leaders have to sell their organization to recruits and new hires, but more importantly, they have to sell their ideas to their business leaders while continuing to sell the value of the company to employees. This takes us back to developing strong business acumen and being present with your leaders and their teams. Understanding challenges or growth targets, thinking critically about solutions, and being able to persuasively and effectively present and communicate your solutions is necessary to build credibility and more engagement with your clients and their employees. Courage to challenge the process. This is a really critical one. HR leaders who want to be seen as true strategic assets must have the executive presence to challenge the process and speak up even when it may not be comfortable or the popular thing to do. When I was leading a transformation of our customer operations center that had just come under my leadership, our focus was on improving the level of service we provided as measured by NPS scores while building a sales culture in the service team. In one of my senior team meetings, I was sharing my frustration at our lack of traction with driving more sales volume in our service queue. So thinking out loud, I just basically stated, it looks like we need more sales training and need to make that a priority. My HR partner at the time calmly looked at me and said, "Chris, sales knowledge isn't your biggest issue, time is." Intrigued and somewhat perplexed, I asked her to elaborate. She proceeded to tell me she had spent time with the line leaders and the customer service reps, watching what they were doing, even joining them on the phones, and also spent a good deal of time in the supervisor staff meetings and one-on-one with some of the reps. She also went on to explain that the team had bought into the concept of what we were trying to accomplish, that providing great service includes presenting products to customers to make their experience more fulfilling and serving as a retention tool. They got that. The problem wasn't desire or knowledge, it was the time constraints we were placing on every call in an attempt to handle more calls. Her idea was to relax the call handling target to provide the team more time to effectively offer products and services. She reasoned that at the time our NPS scores were already so poor, if we took more time to handle each call correctly, including adding time to sell, customers would be more satisfied over the long term, and over time call volume would go down and employee engagement and customer satisfaction would grow. That's how you have the courage to challenge the process. Negotiations. There's always going to be conflict and disagreement within the workplace. Everyone isn't going to get along with everyone else, and even your best ideas, they're going to meet with resistance or flat out disapproval. HR leaders need to handle employee conflicts productively with an employee and company orientation. HR leaders also need to learn how to negotiate for the best strategies and solutions. Successful HR leaders are excellent negotiators with a solutions-oriented attitude, seeking a win-win resolution that satisfies all parties. For the organization or the team to be highly productive people working together, HR must find ways to make that a reality. You can't be effective without solid problem-solving abilities. I recommend the book Negotiate to Win by Jim Thomas, as it's a great primer on overall effective negotiations, and it's a great read. The Audible version's even better. Good listeners and effective coaches. Letting someone talk through an issue is more productive than actively trying to solve it for them. Successful HR leaders, they're able to listen to the problems leaders and employees are grappling with very critically, and then empowering them to be participants in the solutions. My belief is every leader in an organization should be provided the opportunity to develop their coaching skills, and HR leaders are no different, and in fact, may benefit most from developing their coaching capability. Being an effective listener and coach is one of the best ways to move beyond being an order taker to being a trusted advisor. I always valued the HR leaders who would listen intently to my issues or situations and ask thoughtful questions, in effect coaching me through the process. This helped me think more critically about the issues while also receiving excellent feedback and creative ideas to discuss towards a successful outcome. We got there together, but they coached me through it. Good HR people solve problems, great ones, well, they enable the solution. Connecting and learning. HR leaders, you must establish engaging connections both within and outside the organization to build those strong relationships that serve as a learning platform. Involvement in industry associations specific to the organization's business and HR associations such as SHRM will provide excellent learning insights while opening up a whole new world of connections. And HR leaders, you also need to stay current on your HR and other organizational development content as a form of personal skill development. Communication and presentation, well worth the time. When HR professionals are looking at new opportunities, no doubt one skill frequently requested is communication. HR leaders are the link between the business and the employee, and that is not an easy role to play. A part of communication HR leaders often undervalue, though, or ignore altogether, is the ability to create and deliver an effective presentation. Being able to sell your solutions through the use of stories and captivating presentations supported with data, the business data and HR data, to any size audience is absolutely necessary. The best ideas that aren't well presented or communicated will fall flat and can do more harm than good. Conversely, an idea that is well presented and engaging will gain more traction and credibility. And finally, data analysis. And this is closely aligned with business acumen that I talked about in the first part of this series. HR leaders would be well served to develop their analytical skills or the ability to read and analyze data, both the data their clients use and the data HR uses as well. It's imperative because business leaders use data to run their businesses. And if HR leaders can understand business data and marry that with HR data, well, that goes a long way to earning credibility, resulting in more attention being paid to HR solutions. I'm not advocating that HR leaders suddenly become data analysts, but being able to read and think critically about what the data says and how to use that data in creating forward-thinking solutions towards business success, it's important. HR leaders need to be able to look at data really on 4 levels, and the first is descriptive analysis. And this is a view into an activity that includes volumes, cuts, or costs. It kind of levels the playing field. Second is related analysis, and this approach offers insights related to performance against requirements or standards. If you have a service level agreement, then measuring performance against the agreement is a related analysis. Analytical analysis is third, and this answers questions regarding the relationship between activities and outcomes, such as the quality of newly hired employees and turnover in the first year of employment, or the relationships between a high assessment score and improved retention. And finally, the most complex, least used, and probably the most effective is predictive analysis. And this identifies statistical relationships between multiple activities and outcomes to predict what will happen in the future. In summary, HR leaders today are in a great position to have a tremendous impact on their organization's growth goals. Moving beyond strengths in addition to traditional HR competencies is a must if HR leaders are to increasingly earn more credibility and seats at the table. It takes discipline, courage, and drive to think differently to succeed. The list above, it's not all inclusive, and it will likely be different based on the leader, the organization's culture, and business objectives. What I find exciting is that HR leaders have an opportunity that other leaders may not, and that is being fluent in both HR human capital elements while also learning about the business strategy and then marrying the two together in a manner that drives engagement, a performance culture, and business results. HR leaders must never forget and always impart with the clients they support that HR is all about maximizing the value the organization gets from its talent. It's about understanding the current and future business needs and developing and delivering the talent needed to execute the business strategy. There are no HR issues, only business issues that involve talent.